Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idle, and I found a pretty interesting article, as always, about Pokemon. And considering I recently did the video about my thoughts on Ash Ketchum leaving the show and then what is effectively seeming like doing a reboot of the series, I kind of wanted to go over this and see if it changes my thoughts or gives me any other epiphanies, because it is something I hadn't considered. I really only talked about the anime series, but there were so many Pokemon movies, including the theatrical ones. So this one's titled, "So the Pokemon film series is just over." Now, obviously, it's not that simple. At least, I hope it's not that simple. Clearly a clickbaity sort of title, but it could have some eye-opening information. With no Ash Ketchum, the hot streak of Pokemon movies could be over. Nah, I don't think that's the case. Pokemon is more than Ash, and at the end of the day, the movies didn't really follow a linear storyline anyway. It's not like you had to watch the Pokemon movies from the first movie to understand what was going on in the 14th movie or anything like that. Plus, we got Detective Pikachu, which was a theatrical film, and it didn't have Ash in it. So let's see what they have to say and how they can make this sort of argument that on the surface seems absurd. By now, you've surely heard the news that Ash and Pikachu are leaving the Pokemon anime and will be replaced by two new characters for the Paldea series. After winning the World Coronation series and finally becoming a true Pokemon master, Ash is moving on and making room for a new generation. It's a bittersweet moment for fans who grew up alongside Ash and cheered him on to victory over the last 25 years, but the Pokemon Company has decided it's time to make a big change. Ash is getting an 11-part send-off early next year, and after that, he'll be gone. Yep, I mean, all this is pretty par for the course. I won't lie, I didn't know the new series would be a Paldea series. I kind of assumed that the 11-part send-off for Ash would be the Paldea stuff, but considering the timing of the game coming out, it makes more sense to do it this way. There's been a lot of retrospectives and heartfelt farewells to Ash, but for some reason, I haven't seen anyone mention the film series will likely be a casualty of Ash's departure as well. While I've long had my suspicions that the movies were winding down, this seems like a pretty clear indication there won't be any more, at least not any more with Ash. Well, yeah, if he's leaving the series, the film's still always tied into the series. Ash was always traveling, usually always traveling, with the companions from the series that tied in. He would have his team from whatever series it tied into. I don't see how this is some sort of startling revelation. So I'm, again, erring on the side of this just being clickbait for the sake of having some article to put out on Christmas, which is probably a low news day. The first Pokemon movie released in Japanese theaters July 18th, 1998, and for the next 22 years, a new feature film starring Ash and Pikachu released every summer without fail. Wow, that's actually kind of impressive. I didn't know that. I did see this film in theaters, though. It is the first film I have memory of my father taking me to see. The movie series differentiated itself from the TV shows by using better quality animation and storylines with higher stakes. Well, again, yeah, that's kind of the case for all anime films. I mean, even the non-canon Dragon Ball films or the non-canon One Piece films, like, that's just how anime films work. Though each film fit into the continuity of the current anime season, like I said, they all featured legendary Pokemon and encounters that were rarely, if ever, acknowledged in the TV series. Nevertheless, the film series is known for telling some of Ash's best stories. I mean, I will agree to some of the best stories. There's a lot of good movies, even after the point where, in my opinion, the animated series had fallen off. Some of the films that came out in conjunction with those anime series were very good. The 23rd Pokemon movie, Secrets of the Jungle, missed its summer release date due to pandemic-related delays. It finally premiered in Japan December 25th, 2020, before later receiving a worldwide Netflix release October 8th, 2021. With the previous film releasing in summer 2019, this was the longest gap between Pokemon movies in 23 years. That is an impressive record. I have got to give them credit. There has not been another Pokemon movie since Secrets of the Jungle, and now it seems like there may never be. Well, I feel like the 11-part send-off for Ash is good enough. We don't need one more Ash film. I mean, that's kind of the point of a send-off, is to make it a big, grandiose, over-the-top event. So to have a film either before or after that acknowledges that Ash is leaving would kind of cheapen the idea of Ash leaving being an event. Rumors suggest that OLM, the production company behind the Pokemon TV and film series, has struggled to keep up since the start of the pandemic, so it's not surprising there's been a longer gap than usual between films. What is surprising is the series is just 3 movies into a successful reboot that abandoned the continuity of the TV series and started Ash and Pikachu off on a new, standalone adventure. Which was confusing, by the way, because when I only saw the first film. I didn't actually even know the subsequent ones followed in line in that same continuity. But the first one that did that, it was difficult to figure out what it was trying to be. Was it trying to be a reboot? Was it trying to open Ash up to a new, younger generation while keeping what we knew from our generation the same? I might have been analyzing it too much because it was a Pokemon movie, but they changed just enough, but also kept just enough the same that I wasn't really sure what their intention in that movie was. Now knowing that the subsequent films fit into that same continuity, that does clear things up. It's probably something I could have figured out with a quick Google search, but it didn't really occur to me. In 2017's I Choose You, Ash was given a new origin story and a more mature personality. Yeah, I actually liked Ash in this movie, despite me just now complaining that I didn't get what the movie was for, what it was trying to do. I did like some of the changes made. Other changes kind of annoyed me. That storyline continued in 2018's The Power of Us and 2020's Secrets of the Jungle, both of which I need to watch. 2 of the best Pokemon movies ever. Ooh, that's a big claim when you've got Pokemon Forever and Pokemon Heroes out there, bud. It seems strange to abandon that version of Ash when it feels like his story is just getting started. Yeah, I can agree with that, but then again, DC's doing it, so why not other studios? Hashtag fire James Gunn. There's a chance the film series continues in a separate continuity, but it seems unlikely. It's already been more than 2 years since the last movie, and the marketing for Ash's final TV arc is making things sound pretty final. Maybe the new heroes will pick up with Ash left off in the films. That's probably supposed to say where Ash left off in the films. Or maybe the series will quietly end altogether. I, for one, would love to see Ash's journey continue in new movies, but at this point, only time will tell. Well, given the way that movies and TV shows are nowadays, and how reunions happen, and how people are talking about nostalgia selling, they'll probably have the Ash story go on hiatus for 3, 4, 5 years, then announce like a return to Ash in a movie that will follow up on the story, maybe even age him up. I remember when Digimon did that, and it was super cool to see the Gen 1 Digimon cast all aged up in, was it Digimon Adventures Try? I think that's what it was called. So they might go that route, especially if there's any sort of profitability in it. Yeah, pretty short and sweet article. It didn't really justify its existence, in my opinion, being written. But as we can see, the date, published 7 hours ago. I'm sure this was just some dude who wanted to get paid, work Christmas, and some sort of, I'm sure working for the Gamer writing articles isn't exactly a consistent paycheck if your articles aren't being featured or if you don't have anything new to write about. But it did at least make me think of something that I hadn't really thought of before, which was, yeah, the movies are ending with Ash. That's just one more source of continuity that is going out the window. Again, not one I really have a problem with. It makes sense that if Ash goes away, so do the movies he starred in. And if anything, I really hope this opens the door to more live-action Pokemon movies. I mean, obviously with the new cast and the new Paldea stuff, they were going to give us new movies with the new characters and that. But Detective Pikachu was, what, 5 years ago now? 4 years ago? Something around that? I'd like a sequel to that, or better yet, maybe a film set in the same continuity, but all new story, all new cast. It's just set in the same universe. I think that Pokemon live action is rife with potential, and if they can keep that same sort of fun but more mature angle that we got in Detective Pikachu, it opens up Pokemon to a much larger audience than just kids and parents taking their kids. Pokemon Detective Pikachu did have a lot in it for adults that, most Pokemon anime movies don't have. It kind of bridged a really unique gap. So while yes, Ash leaving the show, leaving the movies is the end of an era, it kind of already felt like a new era started and then didn't continue when Detective Pikachu came out. That's really going to be it for this one. Like I said, kind of hard to justify this article being written, but again, maybe you guys in the comments will have more to add or something to say, and I'll be looking forward to them. I do try and read and respond to just about all of them at this point. So, with that being said, please subscribe to my channel. Your subscription would mean the world to me. Follow me on Twitter at BoltTheWord, because this has been Words of Paradise.